I think that's the point of showing that like he can do some things that a leader hasn't really been doing before. You have Darth Vader that's really crazy and powerful, but Thrawn has witches on his side, and he's playing chess while everyone's playing checkers. He has this military mind to him that I don't know that we've seen. I don't know. That's why people fear him so much, and his return was such a big threat. What's up, guys? It's CJ. I'm here with that nerd Mikey and Richie. We're going to get into another episode of Superhero Sundays. But before we do, like always, stop. Spoiler alerts, major spoiler alerts. If you watch these shows we're going to talk about, you need to go watch those right now. Then come back and join us. When you come back and join us, make sure you like and subscribe because any and all support is really appreciated. And it helps us impact the community by honoring real life heroes, man. So with all that being said, today I have a new cup. I have Hulk for my cup today. Mike has Thanos. Oh yeah, Yoda coming through with Richard.
Yep.
Cheers, guys.
Grogu.
Oh, my bad. Grogu. Man, I'm tripping. All right. Cheers, man. Cheers. Wow.
My cup is never going to change because Thanos was always right.
I still didn't make your cup the Mike was right cup. I'm going to do your little cartoon character, but yeah.
All of a sudden.
All of a sudden. But in the meantime, yeah, Thanos was right. But right now, we're going to talk about Ahsoka. Ahsoka, man. Its series is over, and it's going to be a season 2, obviously, from the finale, you can tell. But man, so much went on. I feel like Ahsoka was like, Mike said it earlier, it tried to introduce some new things. It tried to do a lot, try to be a little bold, a little different. I thought it paid off. I thought it was good, man. I thought Ahsoka did a good job. One of the better shows that we've seen recently, that one and Andor. I'll still say Andor is number one. Andor was great. But Ahsoka was up there, man. I think Star Wars content, they've been holding it down for Disney Plus, man. Marvel kind of fell off, and Star Wars had to pick up the slack. I think that they've been doing a good job, bro. And Ahsoka, no difference. What do you think, Richard?
I'll be honest. I think Star Wars is the engine for Disney Plus.
Disney Plus. Mm-hmm.
Ever since it came out, because what was the first show that came out for Disney Plus?
Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm. So I think that was the engine. So I think it's Marvel trying to catch up to Star Wars on Disney Plus.
I agree, man. What do you think, Mike?
I mean, yeah, a lot of the better content that's come out has been Star Wars content. Mandalorian and then Andor, just absolute almost masterpiece of a show. I mean, Marvel planted shows, WandaVision, Loki, and some others, but it's mostly, as we talked about the entire time, quantity over quality in the Marvel area versus it seems in Star Wars it's more quality over quantity. Even their animated shows have been more top tier over there at Star Wars, with Rebels, with their Visions, which were all great. Tales of a Jedi, which was absolutely great. So even with their animated stuff, it seems like Star Wars has been doing more of a quality over quantity versus Marvel, their, Visions or whatever you wanted to call it, their animated series with the zombies and stuff like that. Some of them were good, some of them weren't so good. Same thing with their shows, the least watched, highest rated, whatever that you want to call, but it just seemed like the quality wasn't always there, like in Star Wars.
Definitely, Star Wars has been more consistent with like their content. They've been kind of even keel. Like it's good. They keep it up there. We can kind of clown on what's his name?
Books of Boba
Fett. Yeah, we can kind of clown on books of Boba, but overall, it was still a good show compared to Marvel, and it kept things rolling for Star Wars. And I think Ahsoka, I was a little scared at first when it got, announced this is going to be, a new show coming out. I was like, I hope they do a good job, man. I hope they bring it. And I thought they did, man, because she was such a great character, and Mandalorian, and of course with Rebels and the Clone Wars and stuff like that. Such a beloved character. And I feel like they told a better story of this beloved character than they did with Boba Fett. Like, they kept her character up here. Like, she's still great, she's still beloved, and they did a great job with her with this show. I want to go to Mike first, man, because I want to hear what Mike has to talk about, because sounds like he has some mixed feelings about it. What do you think, Mike? Overall, Ahsoka, man, what's your thoughts?
Well, you talked about how they did a better job with Ahsoka than they did with Boba, but with Boba, you have a character that had hardly any lines, in his entire cinematic universe, versus you have Ahsoka, who was deeply in Clone Wars, Rebels, and then all the lore that they had with her. So they had a lot of meat to that bone to pull out to make this show. So
that's true.
It's not surprising that it was better. But even saying that, and when we first talked about it, how I said that they're going to a new universe, bringing in this whole new story that they can bring in, that can really flourish, and bringing in that new content, that new feel, that breath air that Star Wars fans have been wanting, like Andor did, with how they were a great near masterpiece of a show because it was so different than any other before it. It didn't have much Jedi, it didn't have those lightsabers that, it just had good, bad, like sci-fi thriller, and it was great. This one, it had such a great opposing threat in Baylan Skoll. I mean, I can't say enough about him and how it's nearly a Baylan Skoll show, not a Ahsoka show, but it really, really was such a heartbreaking loss to not just the cinematic world in general with Ray Stevenson, but for this show, how it left you kind of wish you knew that it could go on with school, but it can't. I mean, I'm sure they can do some stuff, but like in the future, like it's gonna be hard to without because of his passing. But overall, the Ahsoka show, the finale was, for me, 7.5 out of 10, because I think they just try to do too much in that end show, the end episode. We talked about how we want it to be different, new. But, this whole of the shadows, kind of zombies, I think could have been left more as a cliffhanger, kind of like this is to come in the new season or in other parts of other shows, rather than Jedi fighting zombies for like half the episode, and just didn't sit right. My interpretation, what I told you, is like you're going through this race, but you stepped in some quicksand, and everybody's moving forward because the story's moving forward, but you're kind of like still stuck in the whole, is that zombies in Star Wars? Is that what's going on right now? Zombies?
Right.
The show's still moving on, but I'm still like stuck on this, like, are we really zombies? Is this what
like
we're
it just
doing
came
now?
out of nowhere, right? Yeah.
And so, I mean, great new content, new world, new villain type things. Thrawn got away. I'm glad they didn't fall in the whole we kill all our villains type of thing like Marvel did. and he's got a ship full of dead people that he can basically reanimate. You know, and the opposing planet that he decides to land on first. The same thing with zombies in any other place, they overwhelm you. Like, you can't really stop them.
Yeah.
So it's a double-edged sword too, because they can't really be controlled, but you know, who knows about these zombies and in this universe. But man, it's just like, to me, it just, we could have saved that for later. We could have just tried to end like the close the chapter in Ahsoka where what's going on. They kind of missed it. Thrawn got away. This is what's to come. Ahsoka now has to figure out a way to get back.
Yeah.
But you know,
you got what you got. Yeah.
You got what you got. And it's, you know, I'm sure a lot of people loved it, but and sure it has a lot of callbacks from, you know, Clone Wars with the sisters and stuff, where I think one of the sisters was actually Darth Maul's mother, and she tried to save him, but then she died in Clone Wars. So there's a lot of like callbacks, sure, that you know, this kind of was a thing, but nothing to this level. And it's just like, and then Ezra making it back to
Hera.
To Hera. So that's great. Everybody loved to see that. But again, it's like, I'm still stuck at, we're at zombies. I just don't know how I feel about it. It's like one of those things where once you plant that in the universe, you can't unplant it.
Yeah.
To me, it's one of those things when you add it, it's like zombies you can't really beat them. Like, you can kind of contain them, but if they get out, it's like, it's one of those things where you can't stop, right? So again, we all wanted that to happen. We all wanted to take a new kind of, you know, but this was just, I just think that they shouldn't have done that for that final episode. I could be one of in the, you know, lesser, but to me, it's, we could have done that for later, man. We really could have.
Hey, I'm always down for zombies, man. I don't know about you, Richard. Did you hate that part about it? The finale of zombies?
I liked it. It actually kind of they gave you a preview of it early in the second episode, when Ahsoka was it the second or maybe the third episode, when she was fighting the other, he looked like he looked like an Inquisitor, right? And when she killed him, like, it was the same kind of death where like it was more like that green smoke coming out of him, right? So that was the first thing I thought of when I saw that, and then it makes you okay. So tidbit. So I still haven't watched the animated stuff. I'm maybe like 12 episodes into Clone Wars. I still haven't seen Rebels. So there's a lot to Ahsoka that's being introduced to me for the first time. So I love it. I'm liking it. For the grandmothers that they show, that they have the ability to bring a whole army back to life, is telling me like how powerful they really are. And it is just amazing how they're so loyal to Thrawn. Like, what, Thrawn's just a being. He's smart. He's very tactical in his ways. But there's nothing that he has that the mothers can't do, other than a ride home. So other than that, so it's kind of interesting where this is gonna go with that relationship.
I think like you said, kind of introducing the zombies, like I said, they probably could do it differently or did, you know, another way, but either way, I think the main point was to show like the threat of Thrawn and the Night Sisters together Like there's a lot of possibilities that we had probably haven't seen before in live action at least, and that Thrawn is the big threat. You know, like he has not unlimited powers, but he has new powers that are really threatening to the Empire, to the galaxy, as I say. I think that's the point of showing that, like, he can do some things that a leader hasn't really been doing before. You know, you have Darth Vader that's really crazy and powerful, but Thrawn has, witches on his side, and he's playing chess while everyone's playing checkers. He has this military, mind to him that I don't know that we've seen. I don't know. That's why people fear him so much, and his return was such a big threat. And now him with the Night Sisters is like, wow, okay, this is a big thing coming now. I think that was the point of showing what they're capable of doing. I don't think we've seen everything yet. I think there's gonna be more to come with the Night Sisters and Thrawn. But I don't know. I'm looking forward to see what Thrawn is really capable of doing, man. Like Richard said, why the Night Sisters are so loyal to him? Like, what does he have over these people that people are like, you know what, we're going to devote our lives to you? And so I guess we're going to see more of that. I cannot wait to see. I think next is either a movie. It's either the Mandalorian verse movie, or it might be another show. I don't know if it's going to be this Ahsoka season 2, or it's going to be an actual movie coming out next, involving everybody. I'm not sure what's up next, but that I'm so excited to see. Looking forward to, man, an actual movie coming, with all these characters and the threat of Thrawn on the scene. So, but we'll see what happens, how that plays out. I don't know, man. I feel like Mike, they tried to, push everything forward with the show. Like I said, they introduced a new galaxy, and with the new galaxy, they're going to have to introduce, new abilities, new possibilities. But at the same time, they had iconic characters, which they mentioned Princess Leia. It's like I was confused with the timeline. I'm like, this is before episode 7, 8, 9, right? It has to be, because she's still alive. But I'm like, is she still where is she at? Where is she at in this timeline? I don't know if Richard knows, where this takes place. But I was kind of surprised to hear Princess Leia being brought up. What about you, Richard? Were you surprised by that?
No, not at all, because this is, Mandalorian is taking place about 10 years or so after episode 6, Return of the Jedi. Okay. And to my understanding, Boba Fett, Mandalorian, and now Ahsoka is all somewhat around that same time. Now, Clone Wars takes place more in between 1 and 2, right? Or 2 and 3. It might be 2 and 3. And then Rebels is more down the after episode 3, I think. Because he's full on Vader by that time.
Okay.
So and now with Ahsoka, yeah. So it's gonna be not too far before A New Hope. So by this time, Princess Leia is already starting to be part of the rebellion, and she's already being her name. Because she's a big name already, because she comes from Senate. She comes from the Organa family. So
yeah, she's royalty.
So she's already kind of not royalty, but just a big name, in the name of politics. So yeah. So she's already kind of a big deal. So
yeah. Yeah, man. I was surprised. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, because if you remember, the flashbacks were of Ahsoka during the Clone Wars when she was young and her master Anakin was still, a Jedi. So that was still happening, and then you also got to see what's his name, Mon
Mothra.
Yeah, she was a big name again, still in the rebellion, or whatever you wanted to call them.
The council,
and then, and then also with what you were talking about, I believe that was also definitely before 7,
Okay.
because not only was Leia a big name, but she also had a lot of pull still. Because 4, 5, and 6, she became more of a bigger pull and name, kind of like a name that can actually stop everybody, like all their opinions, everything. Her say so was it, right? So
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
she already had all those accolades, all those things already attached to her name. It's not just
Mhm.
her being the daughter from the political family, the senator.
Yeah.
So I think it's just maybe after 6, between 7, but we'll never know until they actually let everybody know where this timeline leads. But with Thrawn, um, he was gonna be the next in line to take over the Empire. Like after everybody, after it fell, he was the person that was gonna take over. So the fact that he's coming back and his name was such a big draw, that's why the Night Sisters were attaching themselves to him, because with him, he's going to bring a lot of followers, not just the ones that he has with him, but once he returns back, he can spark that flame that will start the new round of taking over the galactic empire. So,
Mm.
what better name to attach themselves to than to one that is already known and poised to be that new leader,
Hmm.
like a Palpatine or Darth Vader.
Yeah.
So that's why they attached themselves and they said they were loyal to him, not just to
Yeah.
ride home, but because of him and his, basically his prestige, his
Respect and well, fear.
yeah, the
His
fear
name.
that he
Yeah.
poses onto everybody else.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
just like he said the whole thing, many people have fallen to thinking that a mere Jedi is capable of taking them down. Even he was one. Speaking about what happened in Clone Wars,
Mhm.
but he was always a step ahead. So even though he was gonna lose this battle, he was poisoning himself and his army to go on to fight the war.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he was okay with losing that lady, that sister. He was
Hmm.
okay with losing that. He asked like that group of volunteers, do they
Hmm.
know that they're basically there to die? Like he's gonna leave them behind. Do they know? Yes, okay, because they know they're gonna do it. Kind of like in the beginning of Dark Knight Rises with Bane, with that guy. He said he's there's got to be somebody in the wreckage, and he
Yeah.
said, "Would this spark the flame?" Yes, it would spark the flame. The flame rises, and he's willing to die for the cause
Yeah.
because he knows that cause is going to move forward and is going to make waves.
Mhm.
Thrawn had everything he had, even though he's going to lose this battle, knowing he was going to lose this battle, he's going to move forward to fight that war. So he was
Yeah,
always
bro.
steps ahead to continue going to fight that war, to go put his name out there that says, "Here, I'm here. I made it back. I'm here. We're gonna fight. We're gonna try to get through this, and we're gonna get our new empire going." So that's why they attached themselves to him. But along with bringing this kind of like evil from this new world, there's got to be something there that's going to be a light that's going to oppose them.
Yeah.
So that's why Ahsoka's still there. That's why Sabine's still there. And I think that's why Balin Skull's still there, looking at that temple, looking for that power that's going to end all wars. Because that's the whole reason for him doing this. So I'm sure there's going to be something there that they're going to be able to use to oppose the zombies or whatever shadows that's there. So I'm
Yeah.
sure there's going to be something there that's going to bring forth in the coming movie or the coming show, that Ahsoka's going to find something, that Sabine's going to find something that's going to move them forward to help fight the war
Yeah.
against
Yeah, man. I cannot wait to see something with Thrawn on the big screen and them going at like because he's like I said, military strategy guy. I don't know who Ahsoka's going to team up with that can kind of match him with the strategy and because I don't think she can do it. She's not. She's a leader, but not that type of leader. So she's going to need somebody that can step up and be like, "Yo, this is what we need to do. This is how we need to mobilize people in the fight against his army."
And I think it's going to be the same thing that the rebellion's always been. It's always been a caste, a group, them together as one to fight against an opposing force like a Palpatine, a Darth Vader, a Thrawn. It's never been just one individual. It's always been the collective greater good.
Yeah, team
just
effort.
Like they said in Andor, how you will fight these in the links. You'll find little niches there where we can fight. That you see that little hole that you can keep poking to make a bigger hole so you can continue fighting, winning small battles. It's always going to be the collective versus the few.
Yeah. And there's always like Andor is that one person that kind of sets off that wave, that trend that, you know what, we're not going to back down. If he did it, we can do it too. And we're going to keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it until you give up or until we win. So
hasn't that always been that way, Richard? In most of the Star Wars movies, there's always been the collective good against the one opposing force, and usually them or somebody starts a wave that continues. That they're like, hey, we can do this. You saw they did it there. We can continue doing it to win this war.
I think in like just about every superhero or any movie like that, look at the Avengers, look at Justice League. You can, it's all a collaboration of a team, for them to come together, work out their differences, prevail at the end. So yeah, no, you definitely have a big point there, Mike.
Yeah, man, that's so good. I mean, I kind of was like wanted to see Ahsoka defeat Balin though, man. But there's more to his story, so I was like, that's why they didn't do it. But him fighting is like, she wasn't afraid of him, but you could tell he was not afraid of her. Ahsoka, she defeated Darth Maul. She was trained by Anakin. Like she's nobody to just like overlook, bro. Like she's very powerful, very skilled. And this dude was like, I'm not backing down. She couldn't defeat him. He said it. You can't defeat me. With confidence, he said it.
Yeah. It's funny because you were saying that she's not somebody that you can overlook, but he was already looking past her. Like he said, you can't defeat me. You can't.
Yeah.
He was looking past her to achieving his goals. That's why I'm saying that it's such a hit for his passing, that character could be so much, because he is not a Sith. He is Jedi. He is that in between. He is
he's rogue. Yeah, he's a rogue.
He's the making of the situation around him. And he is just there to survive. And boy, oh boy, has he done so much to show that he is not just somebody to just not account.
Not to trifle with.
Yeah. And even without his apprentice, don't matter.
Yeah.
Absolutely doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder what's up with her too. She seemed like she's going to be leading, a group out there on that planet. But something that I was a little surprised with, you probably saw it coming, was Sabine being force sensitive. Richard, man, your girl. There's some people online that were like, oh, they didn't want that. They didn't want her, being force sensitive and all this stuff. But it was, I guess, there's a lot of background with her because she's a Mandalorian. And not many Mandalorians are force sensitive, but there was one in the past that I think that she's connected to. That was like one of the first Mandalorians that was force sensitive. And that was a Jedi and a Mandalorian.
He yielded the black saber, the dark saber.
Man. So I don't know. Like, did you like seeing Sabine kind of finally step up and be like, dude, I'm going to actually break through and actually start using the Force powers and kind of being in tune with that, man? Did you like that, Richard?
Yeah, it's because she's been training for so long, even though she did take some time off, but the fact that she was never really able to get it or like to fully grasp the Force. Yeah, she had Force sensitive. It worked in her favor and a lot of times during her fight scenes and things like that, but for her to actually use it to her liking or for her benefit, and it's like once she got the taste of it now or the feel of it, and now it's like on a
There's
bike.
no going back. Yeah.
Now it just her window opened big time.
Yeah.
So for her to go ahead and help Ezra do that super leap, right?
Yeah, I was like, what? She's like, I got this. I can help you. I'm like, okay.
She got the Force bump on him, so he could get on the ship and make it back home. So there's not much I didn't like about the show.
I know, right? Yeah, it's I'm the same way. I feel like I said, this show had everything you really wanted from a Star Wars show. You know, it had iconic characters, it had new characters. It stayed true to the lore, but also kind of like expanded on the lore, and advancing and broadening, like I said, the possibilities of what Star Wars can bring. Like, it had every single thing that you wanted in the show of Star Wars: lightsabers, cool battles, but it introduced some new things. And it's like, I think they handled it. They did it right. I mean, like I said, Mike said there could have been some things they could have did a little differently, but for them to introduce all that, for that to have that much weight on this one show, I think they handled it pretty well. So I don't know, Mike, do you think that you can give it a little bit of leeway? Because they had a lot to do just for this one show to introduce so much, and they did their best, I think.
And I think I even said that before the show started, that this show, not a lot is going to happen, as in the story with Ahsoka, but a lot of information is going to be used to push through the show. Yes, it took a lot of episodes to get anything done, right? Even though it was only 8 episodes, and we talked about this a little bit about shows that are like 8 episodes versus 6 episodes, or 12 episodes, and how they sped up things, plot points and stuff like that to get the season going, right? But in this season, even though it was only 8 episodes, it seemed like they didn't do a lot of actual like moving Ahsoka's story going, but more of a lot moving the entire universe.
A lot of world building, for sure.
A lot of world building, more of what actually was going on.
A lot of character development too, especially they had to know that there's going to be a big population of Star Wars fans who never watched the cartoons.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So they had to do their part to introduce and do somewhat of character building.
Yeah.
With that too.
Like getting us caught up to like, okay, who's this person? Why are they so relevant to Ahsoka and the story? And it's like, I think they did a good job. Like, if I've never seen Rebels, never seen Clone Wars, and it's like I kind of have a feeling of what actually went on. I have an idea of like the stakes that were put forth with this show, is like without even watching those shows. So I don't know, man. I think they did all that in 8 episodes, man.
Like, if you really think about it, before they even went to this new galaxy, it took 6 episodes to get there. 6 episodes.
6 episodes to get to Thrawn.
Yeah. And in those 6 episodes, not much happened. Just a lot of storytelling, lots of world building, a lot of things. Not a lot of action happened. So it was little bits here and there. So it took.
But when the action happened, it was good.
And that's what helped, right? But it took 6 episodes of information before it jumped to the last 2 episodes being in the new galaxy. So, like I said in the beginning, the very first episode when we started, before we started talking about what we want or what we're going to see in this series, I said a lot is not going to happen because there's going to be too much information to push forward to keep the new round of episode, the new universe, new stories that are going to use this show as a stepping point to move forward. Yeah. And that's exactly what we got. We didn't get a lot of Ahsoka. We did get Ahsoka with Anakin and the world between worlds and that sort of thing. But the majority of the show was world building, pushing the universe to its new point in a new universe, and then moving what the possibilities are for the entirety of the other shows or other movies. Right? Yeah. So that's what the show gave us. This show was a stepping point to have possibilities elsewhere, unfortunately. Yeah. And that's exactly what it is, but also gave us enough Ahsoka, enough for us to enjoy it. Right? It goes back to the whole of when I said Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 or the trilogy is not the greatest trilogy, because it really just had to deal with itself. With all the other trilogies, had the burden of carrying the story of the entire, phases on its back, along with the story that it has. So Ahsoka had a lot to take us along and hold us through the whole thing. Yeah. So I think it was great. I gave it an overall 7.5 for the whole series. It's on par with most of everything else that Star Wars did, above average, which I enjoyed.
I agree, man. All right, man. I want to get you guys to rank Star Wars shows, man. I'm gonna go with Richard first, bro. Like I said, we have Mandalorian, we have Andor, Obi-Wan, Boba Fett. I won't include the cartoons. I won't do Visions and stuff like that. Before as live action. Mandalorian, Obi-Wan, Ahsoka, Boba Fett. Then that's it, right, Mike?
There's Mandalorian, Andor, Boba Fett, Ahsoka, Obi-Wan.
Oh, Obi-Wan. I'm sorry, 5. That's 5. Which rank the top 5, bro? What you got?
Damn. Okay.
The bottom of the barrel first.
Man, you're gonna steal my thunder. My punchline. All right. I think it's a unanimous decision that Boba Fett is number 5. I'm gonna go Ahsoka. As much as I loved it, the only reason why it's lower on mine is because you can easily call this Rebel Season 5.
I mean, I don't hate you for that. So
right. Sure. So and because it's more of a extended continuation from that. There's a lot that I don't know about that. So, but they did a great job, and believe me, they're all going to be close. So we'll say Ahsoka.
So number 4.
Number 3, Obi-Wan. Which I'm a little surprised, because you know me, I love my Vader. I love my Vader. I'm gonna go Andor and then Mandalorian.
Ooh.
Yeah, no, because and as much as I love Andor, the writing, the scripts, everything was great about it. Something about the Mandalorian, especially that first season, it was just so captivating. Just it was new, it was exciting. Got you when he cut someone in half with the door. You're just like, oh.
I hear you, bro.
And nobody's gonna hate you for that, because Mandalorian did a lot in 3 seasons. It did a lot. It really did.
Yeah.
And it seeped into other shows that saved some other shows. So I mean,
true,
definitely, bro.
No one's gonna hate you for that.
Yeah. All right, so 5 Boba Fett, 4 Ahsoka, 3 Obi-Wan, 2 Andor, 1 Mandalorian. All right, Mike Diaz, let's hear your list, bro. Starting with the bottom of the barrel.
I mean, it's everybody's list is going to be exactly the same except for the top 2, right? Or they might be all the same, right? So bottom of the barrel is going to be Book of Boba, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Ahsoka, because like Richard said, it's a great show. It's a solid show. There's nothing really wrong with it, but the other shows are just so much better, right? The third is going to be Obi-Wan, even though it had all those iconic, in some people's rankings, the fight between Vader and Obi-Wan is top tier, right? Just absolutely great work. But it's still at number 3. For me, number 2 is going to be Mandalorian, because even though it's 3 seasons and it did so much for the genre, I just think that Andor, being what it was, of none of the generic Star Wars stuff that people are normally into, and it was literally a solid, political spy thriller. Like, you could have put it anywhere else in any other like theme, and it could still thrive as such a great show. Kind of like Logan, Joker, like all these shows that were just so well done, and literally only at the very end or a little hit here and there that you could tell, oh, this is a Marvel movie. Oh, this is the DC movie. Or, oh yeah, this is a Star Wars show. So Andor was just such a great show. Even if they don't follow up with another season, it was up there for me, like Daredevil season 1 for Netflix series. It was such a fantastic season from start to finish. The growth of both the hero and the villain, like the growth between the two, where they both started becoming who they were supposed to be. Same thing with Kingpin. He was Wilson Fisk, but by the end of that season, they were both their character. They were both Daredevil. They were both Kingpin at the end of that season, and that season was so iconic. Same thing with Andor. Such great lines, the monologues in them, the just overall context that it provided to solidified some of the movies that were already considered one of the best movies out there, that they solidified them with even more context. How can it not be number 1?
Man. Yeah, you I like that. I like that list, man. So what you said, Boba, Ahsoka, Obi-Wan, then you said Mandalorian, then Andor. All right, for me, again, yeah, for sure, number 5 is going to be Boba. Not that it was, for me, it was like a terrible show. It was just, it's just not as good as the other shows. If you want to compare it to, it wasn't terrible, but if you want to compare it to like any of the other Marvel shows and things that were coming out, I would say Boba Fett is better than a lot of the Marvel shows. But yeah, as far as you want to compare it to other Star Wars, it's at the bottom of the barrel. Number 4 for me, I'm about to switch it up, bro. Just only because I want to say Obi-Wan's number 4 for me, only because the first episode I could not get over how corny it was when him chasing that little girl, and those scenes were just so bad. There was like badly written, horrible acting. It was just like I couldn't get over it. It was just too like childish, kind of, It was too corny. After that, great season. When Darth enters, that's the thing. When Darth enters into that series, it's like it changes the whole tone, and the series becomes
when
great.
he showed up at that village.
Yes, Yes, it set the tone. But at the beginning, I could not get over how it just set the tone. It set the wrong tone for me for that show. So I'm going number 4 for Obi-Wan. Number 3 is Ahsoka. I thought Ahsoka from start to finish was great. Even though the finale, it wasn't lackluster, but it could have been wasn't as good as the other leading up episodes. I thought the filler episodes in Ahsoka were also great. Great content. The style of Dave Filoni and his writing and his directing, I thought really shine with Ahsoka. New characters, they're all good, all great. So I love Ahsoka. But it's not better than Mandalorian or Andor. So number 2, Andor, man. I'm gonna say number 2 is Andor, only because if you want to watch Star Wars, you want to watch Star Wars, man. You want lightsabers, you want monsters fighting, you want that stuff. You're going to see a Star Wars show. And like Richard said, that first season was just so iconic because it was new streaming service. So new possibilities, something new we haven't seen, something different. And like, this is the first show they're going to put out. And it was perfection, bro, from start to finish. Just some of the scenes from that are just so iconic. The cinematography for that show was just really great. And it's just, for me, it introduced me to something different. I didn't know anything about Mandalorians for Star Wars until that show. And it just kind of like opened my mind to like, whoa, I didn't know Star Wars had this many different worlds and different characters and such detail to it, where I was just like, okay, I opened my mind to Star Wars even more because of Mandalorian. Some that Andor didn't do. Andor was just a great show, like the dialogue, some of the character development in that show was just great. But if you're gonna watch Star Wars, you're gonna want to see lightsabers and monsters getting sliced in half. So I go with Mandalorian with number 4, my number 1. But what about you guys out there in the audience? What is your ranking of all 5 of the live action Star Wars shows? Let us know in the comments. I want to hear you guys' thoughts also. But yeah, that's Ahsoka. I cannot wait to see a movie for this. I think they're doing a good job with connecting universe and building something like MCU did, man. They're doing a good job. So we'll see what's next for the Star Wars franchise. What you got?
What I will say about Ahsoka though is that I really enjoyed their casting. Their casting was top notch, excellent to get. I know Rosario Dawson. I think she was already a shoo-in for that.
Yeah.
With Marie Lee Inosanto, Bruce Lee's goddaughter. I mean that.
Wait, who is she?
The sister.
The sister that died, the one that had the sword of.
The one they broke out of jail in the morning. Like there was the one that was also
sisters, in. One of the witches.
No. Well, the one they turned into a witch at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, her. Okay, yeah. Okay. So that's Bruce Lee's
goddaughter.
Oh, I
didn't know that.
Okay. Bruce Lee co-developed his martial art called Jeet Kune Do.
Mm-hmm.
Half of that, or a big part of Jeet Kune Do, is Filipino martial arts Eskrima. The Eskrima part came from a martial artist named Danny Inosanto. His daughter is her.
Wow.
So she's a martial artist, stunt woman, and just a perfect cast, or just an awesome cast for this.
Yeah.
And then using Lars Nicholson, the person who voiced Thrawn, and made him look like Thrawn with a gut. It is like 9 or 10 years later, so I understand.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, you know what? We can't get past Hayden coming back as Anakin, bro. Like,
yeah,
how good was he in this show, man?
He was
was great.
Like, he was all levels. He's played like all levels of like Anakin already, or
right?
replayed all Anakins except for episode Phantom Menace Anakin.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Just the wardrobe from everything they did, like when they did the flashbacks and stuff, like it was so on point.
Yeah, man. I mean, we
It
didn't get
was on
into it.
point.
There's so much details into him being that Force ghost helping Ahsoka. Is like so much history in that. Like I said, it's just the details in Star Wars is ridiculous, man. Like so much lore there, so many things that Dave Filoni took and made it into live action. Was like great job, man.
Yeah,
Great job.
He
And
did
yeah.
also with
Uh,
Obi-Wan, the show, Kenobi. He did it there too.
yeah.
yeah, man. He did a great
It,
job. That's why people
he's
they
been
trust him with Star Wars.
he's been so creative on finding new ways to entertain you. I mean, gosh, when Vader lit the gas on fire on the floor in that third episode, to the broken mask.
Yeah, so
That
good, man.
is, for me, that is so iconic. And that was like, it was hard for me to put Obi-Wan at number 3 because because I really fought in my head for 5 seconds.
I said that fight scene between Vader and Obi-Wan in that Kenobi show was put up by a lot of people to be one of the top ones of any media between using Jedis and the Sith. Like it's up there with when they fought Darth Maul with Duels of Fate. With everything, everybody's like, no, this was something special.
It was, man. It was like I said, I would have ranked it higher. It's just the beginning of the show was just stumbled. It's just kind of to get on his feet. It was like, oh, and then it's like, okay, let's get going. Now it started rolling, but it was just like
You did talk about that. How you said you didn't think it was good, but then when that Vader started coming around, you were like, okay,
let's get rolling. And this show it took a big turn. But anyway, I just think that Star Wars has been consistent with just the content they haven't really let me down. So keep it up, guys. Next is a movie. I want to see the movie. I can't wait to go to theaters, sit next to people in the packed out crowd and be like, yes. Because we haven't really had that with, you expect that with Marvel, with the MCU movies. I haven't had that where it's like super packed out, not since No Way Home. But the next Star Wars movie is going to be sold out day one. People want to be there no matter how much people are toxic and hate stuff and hate this and that. They're going to be there no matter what, packed out crowd, and we're going to be there, Richard, right?
Star Wars,
Yes,
lightsaber and all, baby.
we're going to be there, man. So I don't know. When was the last Star Wars movie? How many years ago?
2019,
Yeah, you're right. It was
4 years ago.
The Last Jedi.
The Last Jedi. No, the Skywalker.
No, Rise of Skywalker. I'm
The
sorry.
Rise of Skywalker. Yeah.
Rise of
So-
Skywalker.
Yeah, it's been a while, man. So they're due. They're due. And I think they won't disappoint. Hopefully they won't disappoint. We'll see. All right, man. It's going to conclude this episode of Superhero Sundays. Thanks for tuning in. Tune in next week to get some more crazy, fun topics. We love you guys. Peace out.